I mean, I think that's a little bit dramatic, but
I'm a writer.
because I think the intentions all game were to be vertical, play behind him. You saw from the opening whistle, that was what we were doing, and I really liked that. I mean, to have two plays like that where they got yellows in the first, 20-something minutes, it shows that we're trying to execute what we talked about. And aside from that, it's also about the intensity that we played with. I mean, the guys, like, it was really just nice to watch that type of output of energy and running and competing, besides the soccer side. But so overall, happy with the game. But it's we have two more games in this window, and we can be happy probably for tonight and maybe in the morning, and then we got to go. It's Panama.
Grant? Hey, Greg.
Hey, Grant.
With a guy like Pepi getting 2 more goals tonight, 3 goals now in 2 games with the national team, what's he doing well specifically in your mind? And how do you manage the inevitable excitement that's going to continue to happen here about him?
We're all excited. I mean, for us, we're just sitting there and we're on the train. We're just observing everything that's happening. It's amazing. I mean, an 18-year-old gets an opportunity and takes advantage of it. What you see, and I think what I really like, is that he has this instinct, and it's really hard to teach that to players, and he has an instinct to score. He's a player. We put up the minutes of the past week, and he's a guy that was dragging. He played 90, 90, 90. Now he comes here and plays 90 or whatever he played, but we knew it was going to take a lot of mental courage for him to step up and really play with that relentlessness that we need, and he did it. So really proud of him, really proud of the effort that he had tonight.
It's in this big spot in a qualifier. Obviously, you've seen him before in friendlies, but in this situation, what do you like about his game?
I liked everything. I thought he had an excellent game. We talked, and you guys know that, we talked about his quality of driving at the defense and unsettling the defense, and he did that constantly, and it's difficult, man. When you have someone dribbling at you who's that agile and that mobile and keeps the ball that close to him, it becomes challenging for the defense. We'll look at some defensive work, but overall, I thought he had a good performance.
Paul Tenorio?
Hey, Greg. Congratulations. Talking about driving at the defense on the goal, that's what
Yeah.
Eunice did, drove at him. 18-year-old Eunice Musa drove at him, played at the 20-year-old Serginho Dest,
Yeah.
to 18-year-old Ricardo Pepi. 20-year-old Brendan Aronson I thought was very effective tonight. These young guys, very mature performance, especially considering their age. What's your impression of just how this youth has been able to kind of handle this stage and adapt to it and learn from it and grow in the moment?
I think when you look at this game, and it's only one game of a 3-game window, right? So we can't get too carried away. It was excellent application. It was excellent intensity. It was, everything was pretty good about this game. The trap is going to be, us thinking we're great and us thinking we've qualified for the World Cup. And if we do that, we'll get our ass kicked in Panama on Sunday. And for us, it's about, okay, now how do you bring that again? And then how do you bring that again? That's going to be the challenge for us.
Paul Kennedy in the back?
Greg, a little bit more on Eunice.
Yeah.
Yesterday, when we saw him in, at the open session, he was working to the side of with everybody else. When do you guys get the negative PRC test result? Was he able to practice with the team yesterday? And what did you tell him in terms of when he was going to start, considering the unusual situation he was in of being so
I
uncertain?
could tell you exactly when we got it. Look at my text messages. Because, we were sitting there, and it was supposed to be in 6, and then it didn't come in at 6 o'clock, and we're waiting. We're like, when are we going to get it? And it came at 6:46. That's when we found out. We had dinner at 7:30, and I pulled him aside before dinner. I said, you're going tomorrow. You're negative. And it was great. I mean, you have to take the precautions, and, we were a little worried, but it was great that he got to play.
Ron Blum?
Hey, Greg, you talked about how in the first window, to remember, it's an inexperienced group. From what areas did you see growth tonight that you were looking for?
I think it was just the application of what we learned from last window. And, applying it to this game and hopefully applying it to this whole window. You know, we knew, we talked about the intensity of these games, but until you're in them, you know, you don't really know. It's just theory. And I think that was what I was most proud of, the guys understanding what it's going to take to win this game. We knew Jamaica was in a tough spot. We knew they were desperate. We knew they have athletes. We knew they're going to compete. When you looked at the lineup, it was guys that the coach trusts to get it done. And that's tricky. You know, that's always a tricky group to play against. So overall, I think, you know, we handled it well.
With 5 players making their debuts in World Cup qualifying tonight, the number increases to 21 total in the first 4 matches for the U.S. Daniel Nora?
Greg, besides the 4 goals in San Pedro Sula,
Yeah.
do you feel like tonight we saw the most powerful exhibition from your team in the qualifiers? And I want to ask you about Weston. What did you get from him coming back after what happened? If you can evaluate his game tonight.
Yeah, so I thought we had, it says 17 shots, 7 on target. We had a lot of other close chances. You know, we had those plays that we got behind them and forced them into last-ditch tackles. So overall, I think it was a strong performance. When you have atmospheres like we had tonight, it's, you know, it gets the guys up to perform. Fantastic field, fantastic stadium, fantastic fans. I mean, this is what it's about, and this is why we chose a venue like Austin. When I think about Weston's performance, you know, listen, it's not easy, right? It's not easy to come back and play in these games, and he knew a lot of eyes were going to be on him. And the way I would characterize his performance is professional. I think he did a really professional job in this game. You know, it wasn't the top level that he can produce, but it was up there, and I think he had an excellent performance.
Kevin Baxter?
Hey, Greg, thanks again for your time.
Yeah.
Talking about the first half, you know, it looked like everything was there. You were just a little bit off,
Yeah.
0 for 11 on crosses, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So at halftime, obviously you didn't blow it up. Did you just tell the guys, look, believe in this, it's going to work, it's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, there's times when you're playing well, and you know, there's not much to change. What I would say is, if you look at the last 5 minutes or 6 or 7 minutes of the first half, we started to lose our positions a little bit. I saw a little too much dribbling, you know, not that cohesiveness of ball movement and ball circulation, and that was the message at halftime: is guys, stick to your positions, keep the ball moving, trust each other, and keep going, because we're going to score goals if you keep up with this the way we're playing.
Sam Stejskal?
Greg, thanks for taking the time. Congrats on the win. You talked in the build-up to this camp about the Canada game and needing to do a better job playing behind and playing through a set defense. You guys were obviously able to do that tonight. What did you think of that? And as a follow-up, what did you think of the performance of the wingers, not just the starters, but Tim Weah as well?
You know, we talked about, you know, that word verticality. We said we want to get behind them, we want to stretch them, we want to play forward quickly, and we did it, and that's good. The wingers, you know, when you think about Paul and Brendan, I would hate to play against those guys. They're relentless. They don't stop. You know, it's annoying. Even from as the coach watching them, I'm like, oh my God, you guys aren't stopping right here. You keep going. And they harassed those defenders the whole time. It was really an incredible performance from them too. Brendan was another guy that we're looking at his minutes during the week, and it's 90, 90, 90 in Champions League games, and we're like, flew across the world to get here, and we thought that he wasn't going to be able to do it, or it was going to be difficult, and he performed really well. Then Timmy, when he came in, you know, the advice to Timmy was keep doing what we've been doing, stretch him, use your legs, and he did that. I mean, to think about a guy like that coming off the bench when the opponent's tired is a frightening sight.
We'll take one more for Greg and then bring in Ricardo and Brendan. Eric?
Greg, thanks, congratulations. As we're talking about evaluating players, you touched on it a little bit. How about evaluating the fans tonight? And, you know, there was some maybe hesitation about, is the kickoff too early, but seemed like the stadium was full, at full voice for that national anthem. And then if you thought it was good, what's the rush to maybe come back and play here again?
You know, that's, you know, I voiced my concern about the kickoff time and about were people going to be in the stadium, and it was great. It really was. You know, I mentioned about the anthem time, and when you're competing for the United States and the anthem's playing, it's a real special moment. You know, we think the whole stadium's united in their love for our country and the pride they have when the anthem's going on. So, you know, that was that sets the stage for a great game. And, Austin certainly did their part, not only with the training ground, but the stadium and the fans. And, we'd love to come back here one day.
Always talked about how special it was to play in Texas, to score goals in Texas as a native Texan. Now, you've done the same thing here, being from El Paso, playing currently in Dallas, playing a World Cup qualifier here in Austin and scoring. Just personally, what does that mean to you?
It's a special feeling, it's a special feeling being able to just score here in Texas, but not just here in Texas, just in front of our fans. I feel like it's an amazing feeling.
To your right, Stephen Guth.
In the team at halftime or at the start of the second half, what needed to happen, what you needed to do individually and collectively to break the deadlock?
The team felt like Jamaica was so compact, so we needed to go through the wings, and then I feel like we found their weaknesses out on the wings, and just crossing I feel like was one of their major weaknesses. So I feel like we took advantage of our opportunities and just we unlocked them.
To your left, Grant Wall.
Congrats, Ricardo. You didn't get any great chances in the first half. You started to in the second half. The mark of a great center forward is being able to finish the chances you get. How do you approach dealing with the frustration of the first half, not getting the chances, and then knowing the ones you do get, you're going to convert?
It's about being patient. I feel like if you ask any striker, what's whenever you don't touch the ball or whenever you don't get a lot of opportunities, you just got to stay ready for when you do get a chance.
We'll go to second row. Chris?
Yeah, Ricardo, congrats on the goals. I don't know if you know this, but scoring twice tonight, you've tied for the most goals among any players at Q2 with 4. What is it about this place? What's it like? What was it like tonight playing in front of that wall that was actually rooting for you tonight? Did you see the beer showers? How much is this place kind of feeling like home to you?
No, it means a lot. It means a lot. Like I said earlier, just being able to play in front of our fans, give the fans a win. I feel like it's a special feeling, not only for me but for the whole team. So, I feel like we were in front of our fans, and we needed to just get the win for them.
Ron Blum.
Hi, Ricardo, on the 2 goals, first is Matt, you started your run, and then with Brendan and Anthony on the second one. What did you see develop, and what made you do the run the way you did?
Yeah, no, I saw the play develop on the wing. Like I said, I feel like those were their weaknesses, and I just saw Serginho was ready to cross the ball, and I feel like I positioned myself in a good position to be able to get that header.
Eric Goodman, second row to your right.
Ricardo, you spent some time after the match on the far end of the stadium. Who was there? Who were you talking to? What was that moment like?
Yeah, I had my family in town, and I had some family friends that are from El Paso, so, it was a special night for me, and then I just want to thank all the fans and my family for coming out.
Sam Stejskal.
Ricardo, a lot has happened in your life over the last month here, emerging onto the scene with the national team, continuing to do well with Dallas. What is this moment like for you, and how is your head not spinning? You're sitting up here, you seem very calm.
It's a moment of, just being able to stay calm, being able to just stay humble. I feel like I always talk to my family about, a lot of things going on, and, they always tell me that I got to stay humble and I got to keep working.
Last one for Ricardo, Kevin Baxter.
Hey, Ricardo, congratulations. This really follows that question, but, as far as we know, 2 months ago, you hadn't even committed to the U.S. team, and Greg Berhalter was just in here saying that everyone's just right, you're leading the train, everyone's just riding along. What does it feel like in 2 months going from not being on the team to now you're the team leader in World Cup qualifying?
I feel like I worked, just to be able to be on the squad, being able to represent my country. I feel like I made a big decision, and like I said, when I made my decision, I was going to give my all to the team, and that's what I'm doing.
Is it too much too fast though?
I feel like it's coming. I don't know if it's too fast or if it's too slow. I feel like it's coming. Whatever's going to come is going to come. And I feel like I have to be ready for it, be prepared.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.